Good afternoon, Jyot.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Fine,
How is everyone at home?
fine.
Okay, so today let's begin with the poem Amanda. Now, first, I will tell you
Okay.
the outline of the poem. Then I will explain you the poem line by line. And then today we will do the literary devices, that is, the poetic devices that are used in the poem. Okay, so
Hmm.
let's begin. Now, Amanda is a poem by Robin Klein, who is an Australian author, and she has written books for children. She also writes books for
Hmm.
adult fiction also. She has written many stories for children as well as for grown up people also. Now, see, Amanda is a poem about a girl who is being constantly controlled by her parents. Okay, and
Hmm.
this is a part of every, I think this is a part of every child's life, that parents become sometimes too controlling. So here we will
Hmm.
see that child is being controlled by her mother, and then she wanders into her own world. She imagines like
Hmm.
she has become a mermaid and she is in a emerald sea, and she then again her mother is scolding her. Then she again imagines that she is into another world. She in fact she imagines herself as an orphan also, and that is the most pathetic
Hmm.
part of the poem, that she is so much controlled by her parents that sometimes she even imagines her life without parents, thinking that she is an orphan. Okay, and further her
Hmm.
mother again scolds her and tells that she has been eating too many chocolates and that's not good for her health. And then again
Well,
yes, she imagines herself as a Rapunzel, who is also a character from a fairy tale, and she wants to stay alone. So the poem deals with the emotions of the child and how she wants to escape from the reality, because in reality she's trying to do her best, but all the time she's been scolded and controlled by her parents. So she wants to escape this reality. Okay,
hmm.
so
Okay.
this much is clear.
Huh.
Okay, now I'll be reading it line by line. Now, don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't haunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. Now, in the first stanza, the mother is scolding her for biting her nails, and she's not sitting straight. She's slouching her shoulders, and so she's getting scolding for that. She's been corrected for that. Now, you please mark here. See, don't bite your nails. You mark it first. Second, you write,
Hmm.
don't haunch your shoulders. And third, stop that slouching and sit up straight. So these are the three things. The question, long question can come. No, what are the things Amanda has been scolded, or her mother is trying to control? So these are the first 3 points. And then she's constantly trying her to control that you're not sitting straight, you have haunched your shoulders, and you are always biting your nails. So you should stop all these things. Now see, then
Hmm.
the next stanza is written in brackets. Okay, now the stanzas which are in bracket tells us that Amanda is imagining. Okay, while her mother is
Hmm.
trying to correct her or control her, she is wandering into her own world. And here in the second stanza, she see, there is a languid emerald sea where the sole
Hmm.
inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. So in the second stanza she is imagining herself as a mermaid. Now mermaid is a imaginary character. Okay, you know what is a mermaid, I hope you know. So and then
Huh.
she is imagining that she has become a mermaid, and she is sitting quietly and she is enjoying blissfully in the green sea. Emerald signifies the color green, and actually emerald is a gemstone. Okay, and here
Hmm.
the sea is compared to it because the sea is green, and and she is sitting blissfully drifting, means swaying one side to another, and there is no one to control her. So this is a life of many children. Sometimes their parents, without knowledge, they become so controlling that the children, they don't want to listen to their parents, and they drift into their own world. Okay, second stanza clear.
Hmm.
Then again in
Yes.
the third stanza, did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. Again her mother is trying to scold her, and she is controlling also. And what are the things she is telling her? You mark here fourth, because in the first stanza there were 3 points. In the third stanza you write, did you finish your homework? She had been allotted some work, but she might have not finished it, so her mother is asking for that. And fifth is, did you tidy your room? And sixth, that she was asked to clean her shoes. Whether she has cleaned it or not, her mother is constantly asking her. In the third stanza, again in the fourth stanza, the stanza is in bracket. What she is imagining, that she is, I am an orphan roaming the street, I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet, the silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. So this is the most important stanza of the entire poem. Here she is imagining herself as an orphan. You know what is, who is an orphan?
Huh.
Yes. So what happened? She is imagining herself as an orphan, and she's thinking that her parents are not there. She's roaming in the streets without being controlled and dominated. And what she's doing, she's bare feet, and she's making patterns with her bare feet on the sand. And then at last, what does she say? The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Please underline this line, because this line can be quoted and questions might be asked. This is the most important line of the poem. The silence is golden. The Here it is a metaphor where the silence is compared to the color golden. Why? Because no one is there to scold her and control her and tell her to do this and not to do that. That is why that type of silence is like a gold for her. And freedom is sweet. Now, can we taste freedom? No. But here again,
No.
freedom is here, this line is a metaphor where freedom is compared to being sweet. Because she's all the time, if someone try to control you all the time, at some point of your life you will react. So this is how she is reacting. She doesn't have that much courage to speak up to her parents. So she is inside her heart, she is imagining such things where she can totally be free and cannot be controlled by anybody. So that is why she's saying the silence is golden and the freedom is sweet. Clear?
Huh.
Now, the fifth stanza, again, her mother is saying that don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Now, why are you eating the chocolate? Because chocolate because it is somehow, it might be true, but not all the chocolates are result, means they will have an acne on the children. So that is not so. And she's telling that, remember your acne, Amanda, means if you eat lot of chocolate, you will have lot of pimples. So will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you? Now, while her mother was talking to her, or her parents were talking to her, she was looking down. Then for that also she got scolding, that whenever I speak to you, what do? You always look down. That means you're not paying attention. So constantly her life, like, see, we are reading this, we are feeling so bad for Amanda. But yes, parents, sometimes whatever parents say is right, but sometimes the way of telling might be wrong. So because we should have a balanced, like our Indian constitution, partly flexible and partly rigid. So parents should also be like that only, partly flexible, partly rigid. So she was constantly being scolded. And then now what she is imagining, please turn the page. Now here she is imagining that I am now see, that is also within brackets. I am Rapunzel, I have not a care, life in a tower is tranquil and rare, I'll certainly never let down my bright hair. Now Rapunzel is a character from fairy tale. I hope you know, because as a child you must have surely read or heard about Rapunzel. She was a beautiful girl with a very bright and very long thick golden hair, and she used to always let down her hair when a prince used to come and meet her. So she is, when her mother is scolding her again, then she's imagining she has gone into a world of her own, and she's imagining that she is Rapunzel and she is living in a tower, a very blissful and peaceful life, and no one is there to disturb her. And that is why she's saying life in a tower is tranquil and rare. Please underline this line also. And then she says that I will not let my hair down for anyone. Why? Because she wants to live in peace. She doesn't want to be controlled and dominated and scolded all the time. So she's saying, I'll certainly never let down my bright hair. So all the things she's imagining, And then in the last stanza and the final stanza, her mother is again scolding her, stop that sulking at once. Again she's saying that you always nag, you crib, and please stop that. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. Then her mother is saying that you are nagging, you are moody, and what everyone, when I am scolding you, what everyone else will think? Everyone else will think that your mother is controlling and dominating, and no one will say that you are becoming moody. So she has been again scolded, and the poem ends here. And we are not told that what else she is imagining, but I think we can say that she might have even stopped imagining. Why? Because she must have thought that it's of no use, because her mother will constantly control her and dominate on her and scold her. And even if she cannot even imagine things, so at last the poem ends here only, that I nagged at you, Amanda. And that time she's not imagining anything. So the poem is clear, Jyot? Sure, 100%?
Yes.
Okay. Now see, when a poem is written, any literary any literature. Now see, this is a literature. So whenever a poem is written, there are certain poetic devices, or we can also call them as literary devices, that are used in the poems. Now here also in the poem there are many literary devices. We will see stanza wise that what are those. Okay. Please read the first
Okay.
stanza.
Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda.
Yes. So here in the first stanza, there is a figure of speech, that is anaphora. Here, see, in the first two lines, no, the poem has begun with "Don't bite your nails, don't haunch your shoulders." So these two lines, which it is starting with "don't" and "don't." So these repeated use of the word is known as anaphora. So this is the poetic device, and then there is a sound. There is a sound of "o," like "don't." O, we are hearing the sound of O. So that is known as assonance. And then there is a metaphor which I told you, that in the second stanza, see, emerald sea. Emerald sea is also it signifies, it tells us that it is green sea. So there is a use of metaphor, and which the green color is because we can see emerald here signifies the green color of the sea. So that is metaphor. And imaginary is also there, like imagery is there when it is written, or drifting blissfully. So what we can imagine, that she has become a mermaid and she's swaying from this side to that side blissfully. So that is a imagery. Okay. And also in the stop that slouching and sit up straight, here the sound S, the consonant sound S is being repeated. So that is an alliteration. Okay. Clear?
Ha, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, your video got stuck in between.
Okay, so shall I repeat the alliteration portion once again?
Yes.
Now see, the consonant sound S is being repeated in the first stanza, like stop that slouching and sit up straight. Now S, stop, slouching S, sit S, and straight S. Here all the S sound is being repeated, which is a consonant sound. So that is known as alliteration, repetition of consonant sounds. Okay. And now reference to mermaid means it is an illusion. Why? Because it is an imaginary character. So these are the literary devices which are used. And then again in the second, third, and fourth stanza, also some literary devices are used. Again in the second stanza, see, not the second stanza. Wait. Yes, the third stanza. Did you finish your homework? Did you tidy your room? Now this is also an example of anaphora. And again the sound of O is used, like thought, told, you. All these are assonance. And just a second. Again the metaphor which I told you, the line which I told you to underline, the metaphor here used is, the silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Now here the silence is golden, it is compared to the golden color. And what does the poet wants to say? That silence is glorious. Why? Because she wants to sit in silence for some moments. Okay, and then again the character of Rapunzel, it is also illusion because it has been taken from a very famous fairy tale, Rapunzel. And again in the last stanza there is a alliteration where the mother is saying stop sulking at once. So S stop and S sulking, this is the consonant sound, so alliteration is used. So I hope it is clear.
Hmm.
You want me to repeat anything?
No, no.
Sure.
Hmm.
So now what will you do? What will you do?
Summary.
Yes, you will write the summary of the poem, and please read the poem line by line so that you will have a better understanding of the poem. Because see, it is as such it is a very simple piece of work and very easy to understand. But if you write the summary on your own, you will have a better grip of the poem. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay. So do you have any questions?
No.
So shall I end the class?
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.